you. Yes, 10 minutes today. We do a huge range of legal services, and you've heard me do different ones every week. So I thought I'd actually pick on an area that not a lot of people know about, or maybe think they know about and don't actually. So we're looking at lasting powers of attorney and the Court of Protection. Powers of attorney are a familiar term. You know, they basically grant somebody the power to control finances or assets. Lasting power of attorney is different because it's all-encompassing, and it goes in perpetuity. As soon as it's registered, basically it's going to run until you die. So it replaced the enduring power of attorney. The reason that it replaced the enduring power of attorney is the amount of financial abuse and fraud that was going on. It was a very simple form to fill in, and therefore it was very simple to abuse it. So how does the lasting power of attorney work? Well, we've actually produced a small video that I think is actually going to tell you a lot better than me sitting lecturing at you. So some nice little music that goes with it once it loads. Just explains a little bit about the lasting powers of attorney, and there's two different types. I'm going to
fill it out.
So yeah, basically we've got two different types of lasting powers of attorney. We've got the financial one, which is basically going to teach you, it's going to allow you to control assets, your house, your bank account, etc. And then health and welfare. There we are.
You've rehearsed this.
Yeah, it works last
Mum's always been a forward thinker. She gets next year's Christmas cards in January. She always bought your school uniform a size too big for growing room. Now she's chosen to give you power of attorney in case one day she can't make important decisions for herself. But what does this actually mean for you? It means Mum has appointed you as her trusted representative to make decisions on her behalf. Now, there are two types of power of attorney: property and financial, and health and welfare. Mum could have chosen to sign over just one type of power of attorney, but she's decided to give you both. This means you're responsible for things like paying her bills, collecting her pension, or renting out her cottage in the country. You can start taking care of this right away. But you can only start making decisions about Mum's health and welfare when she no longer has the capacity to make them herself. This covers important decisions about things like Mum's day-to-day routine, the medical care she receives, or whether she moves into a care home. So not only is power of attorney a big responsibility, it can be very confusing too. Speak to Giles Wilson today and find out how we can
Okay, so just to recap, lasting power of attorney is a way of giving you control over your future. Also, I think more importantly, at a time which is going to be very difficult for your loved ones, you've already made the decisions for them. They don't have to make the difficult decisions about if you want to go into a care home or not. They can make the decision about if the house needs to be sold. You can do all of that before anything happens. So, you've heard me say why you should have an LPA, but what happens if you don't have one? Again, we've produced a short video. You've got the music again, so you'll be pleased about that, I'm sure. Basically, Court of Protection exists to protect the vulnerable, and again, when you've not got a lasting power of attorney in place, this is what's going to happen if you lose the capacity to make your own decisions. Yeah. Okay. So basically, if you've not got a lasting power of attorney in place, you lose the ability to make your own decisions or something happens, then the Court of Protection is going to step in and make the decisions for you.
Mum's been a free spirit all her life, always off on soul-searching trips around the globe, impossible to pin down. But these days, making decisions is more of a problem for Mum. And being a free spirit, she hasn't made arrangements for the power of attorney. With no power of attorney in place, no one can make decisions for Mum or access her finances, which leaves things in a bit of a mess. You can resolve this by getting your solicitor to make an application to the Court of Protection, which will appoint a deputy to take care of Mum's affairs. Most of the time, the deputy is a trusted friend or relative. This might be you. But what if you weren't around? Then the court would have to turn to a panel deputy, an expert in mental capacity law. Like Melinda Giles of Giles Wilson Solicitors, who's one of 60 professional panel deputies in the UK. The deputy can be responsible for lots of Mum's important decisions, including decisions about her welfare, property and finances, medical treatment. The deputy must always make decisions with Mum's best interests in mind, and is only allowed to make certain decisions as set out by the court. And whether the deputy is you, Mum's best friend, or a professional panel deputy like Melinda, they're expected to make decisions with the highest standards of care and consideration. Speak to Giles Wilson today and find out how
Okay,
he
so
can help you with the Court of Protection.
Just to recap then, court protection exists to protect the vulnerable, but it doesn't just stop at appointing the deputy. It actually has a supervisory role that is ongoing through the person's life. So if any big decisions need to be made, you have to go back to court and the judge has to confirm, yes, that is in that person's best interest before they will actually agree to it being done. So why would you use Giles Wilson to do your application? You can do it yourself. Yep, absolutely. But we deal with court protection applications and lasting power of attorneys all the time. That means that basically we're going to ensure minimal delay, and again, crucially, you're going to avoid stress at a very difficult time. We are specialists in this field. Melinda Giles, you heard there, is one of only 60 people in the whole country that can act as appointed by the court. This year alone, we recovered over £1 million in fraudulently obtained money, where people were basically abusing neighbours, and in one case it was their brother who was mentally incapable, and they basically effectively stole the money from them when they'd been trusted to look after them. We've recovered that money for them, and it's now being used for their benefit. As you saw, again, recommended by the court as one of only 60. Also, Southend-on-Sea Borough Council will also refer work to us as well when it comes outside of their specialism. So the bigger the case, the more complicated, they basically shove it over to us and say, can you please deal with it? It's out of our hands, it's out of our league. We do have a number of accreditations as memberships as well that back up why you should use us. You've heard me speak about Lexcel before. Law Society Standard of Excellence, basically. That's general practice management. So the whole firm works to an exceptionally high standard. Also, we are members, or Melinda Giles is a member of the Solicitors for the Elderly. It's a particular membership scheme where you have to specialise in particular cases and vulnerable clients. Lastly as well, you heard there, like I say, reinforce the trust level there, one of only 60. The Ministry of Justice, the Court of Protection, actually trust our firm above virtually any other in the country. The kind of referrals we are looking for really stem from care home managers and workers. They often spot somebody who may be on the brink with capacity or wants to step in at an early stage and make a lasting power of attorney. Similarly, accountants also often refer quite a bit of work to us on the basis of they see these people year in, year out, notice some changes maybe, or again, as part of their financial planning, should you have an LPA in place, have you thought about that? Likewise, independent financial advisors, also when sitting down to discuss people's future, really it should be part of that. What have you thought about what happens in the event that you can't decide for yourself? Let's decide now, let's get it sorted. In particular, we'd actually really we've got Southend-on-Sea Borough Council recommending us, which is amazing, but haven't got any contacts at Castle Point Council or at Rochford Council. Also Essex Police in their vulnerable client departments. They've all got different names, but essentially that's the work they do. Melinda Giles is the expert, and she's more than happy to go into these institutions and actually give them training on it, to educate them. Not looking for business, literally just to educate people about what to look out for and what the signs are. On a personal note, anybody who's already expressed interest in making an LPA, come and see us. If you've already got an existing LPA but you want to register it, so you want someone to be able to use it, we can deal with that for you. Sounds a bit morbid, but anyone that's planning on going into hospital or is planning on some long-term treatment, probably best to get things in place now. So that's it really. So thank you very much for listening, and if you've got any questions, hopefully I'll be able to answer them for you. The lasting powers of attorney are around £350 plus VAT per one. But if you're making them together and you're registering them together, then we normally offer a discount. So you're normally, depending on the complexity of the case, if it's fairly straightforward, you're looking at probably around 10 to 25% discount if we're doing the same thing, we're doing it all at the same time. Likewise with couples, we offer a discount. If you've got to go to court protection, again, it's a reason to get it in place now rather than risk going there. Court protection application itself is £800, and then you're also looking at about £450 fee as well. Plus you've got ongoing fees every single year to look after it, whereas the LPA is one-off, it's done, dusted, off you go, you can happy. Like I say, the court protection, the main thing is it's got long ongoing costs.
Helen, just a question. Excellent, 10 minutes, thank you very much. Question, someone at my age, my 40s,
Yep.
I've got young children. Is it worth putting something like that in place now and kicked in at a certain age? Do you do it, or do you wait till you get to your people at a certain age?
No.
What's the situation now?
You can make it at any time. The lasting power of attorney, you have to make it while you've got capacity, so questionable for yourself.
Yeah,
but
100%. 2 weeks, I lose all
so if you make you can make the LPA now, get that cost out of the way. We would basically, if we were doing it for you, we would keep that in the vault along with wills and deeds and everything like that. If you come to me in 20 years' time, 25 years' time, 30 years' time, or anything, go, do you know what, I can't be bothered with it anymore, can you register it? I want my kids to start paying my bills for me and things, then we can do it. So you can do it all in one go. If you're older, that's probably going to be the best bet. For someone like yourself, yeah, you're talking about making it now, but maybe
4
registering
years' time.
in a long time, yeah.
Helen, are they easy to reverse? So if you put one in place?
The LPA,
Yeah.
the LPA is, once you've made it, again, you have to register it before anyone can use it. So it's a big decision to make, because as soon as you've registered it, that person has got the power to do it. If you then want to revoke it, yeah, it's going to be slightly tricky, and you're going to have to go to the Court of Protection in order to get it. We have had the couple of cases I talked about where we recovered the over £1 million. They were both deputies appointed by the court that were abusing them, and we had to go to court and actually had them taken off as deputy and Melinda put on as deputy. There's criminal cases going on sort of along the sidelines for the fraud, but it's a long process to get it, so you need to make sure who you decide upon is trustworthy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been the wrong side of this because my mother-in-law who had Alzheimer's, it was too late to get the lasting power of attorney,
Yeah.
so dealing with the Court of Protection is a complete nightmare, in that if you want to buy a new 90, you have to put all the receipts through Court of Protection to make sure, I mean, it's fair enough because someone could be taking their money, but I've learnt my lesson, so I would like to talk to you about, for my parents, they're in their 70s and I just do not want to be in that situation again.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is we can, if you're in a situation like yourself where you don't want to deal with it, you can instruct us. Even if you're the deputy, you can still instruct us to deal with the work for you. So we deal with paying all the bills, doing all the annual returns and everything like that, and releasing money when you need it. So yeah, come as much as we want.
Just a very quick one. Is that linked to the will as well? Is it linked in with the will?
Completely separate. We mention it to people when we've got a will appointment going on, but they are completely separate.